Okay, guys, and here in the top left-hand corner of the map Antiga Shipyard, we have our blue Terran player from Complexity. It is TriMaster. And his opponent down to the bottom right-hand corner of the map is our red Zerg player from FXO, who's won the last 3 games in a row. It is Lucky, and for those of you who are just joining us or just saw the last game and wondering why we skipped one, I want to reiterate. Unfortunately, after Lucky defeated Ganji to tie things up, he was sent in, or I should say, Gosu User was sent in from Complexity next. He unfortunately went down, and we do not have the replay from that. We did not receive that from the teams, unfortunately. So, obviously, Lucky took the win, and now finds himself just 1 game away from pushing FXO through to the next round and eliminating Complexity. Yep,
pretty close here. It is a battle for elimination, but all the teams that have gotten this far in the tournament are going to be at least in our Challenger League. In the IPTL coming next. This is the last season of Team Arena Challenge. We're going to go into the IPTL, and basically there's going to be 2 divisions there. There's going to be the Challenger Division, and there's going to be the Premier Division. The Premier Division, I believe, is going to be the top 8 teams from the previous season, and the Challenger Division will make up another, how many was it again?
8 teams.
8 teams again, so it will be 16, and then there will be, you know, in a sense, some up and down matches to decide who kind of moves up and moves down. So it's going to be an interesting format. Looking forward to seeing what teams can show us.
Yep, it will be relegation style, as you mentioned, with up and down matches. So teams have to stay on their best behavior to make sure they make it through. And TriMaster losing that SCV up at the front. Oh, so annoying drone there.
Drone.
Yes.
Oh, I can't see the SCVs. Here we go again, just trying to build buildings, man. And you know, drones and probes, they just have to try to stop them from doing their jobs. All they're trying to do is doing their jobs. They're not trying to build a bunker outside their base. They're just trying to build a barracks.
To be honest, their job isn't the most demanding, though. This at least gives them a challenge. All they have to do is just kind of poke a structure over and over again, and it completes. So
yeah, but they have to be attentive while they do it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, and TriMaster taunting that drone with the possibility of escape, but no, that drone will die. He will pay for his crimes.
That's a fact.
That's right. Judge, jury, and executioner coming out right now. This Marine not going to let this drone escape. SCV revenge.
Oh, all right, and it goes down. Factory coming up, no real surprise. So TriMaster going to opt for a 1-base reactor at Hellions, and we'll see what his opponent ends up doing in response. It was hatch first into gas with a pretty quick pool after that as well. In fact, it's going to be just enough for that Zergling speed as soon as the pool finishes up, so nothing out of the ordinary from Lucky at all.
Yep, that's right. And, you know, nothing out of the ordinary has worked wonderfully for him so far in this match, so that's not a problem.
With the exception of 45 Banelings staring down Ganji on Ohana.
Yeah, that was an interesting decision, and I did end up liking that. I mean, it was a little bit weird at first, but when you look at the situation, that was a great answer to it, and it was certainly explosive.
Oh, God. Did you really? That was explosive?
Yeah, because Banelings explode.
I know. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I was directly
don't worry.
referencing the Banelings. I wasn't talking about the attitude of the event.
Okay, I'm all right with that.
Reactor Hellion, or rather Hellion Marine, I guess, from TriMaster before expansion. So feeling a little bit unsafe here, and he is going to switch things over now after getting his first Hellion out, interestingly enough.
Yeah, he just missed his timing just a little bit, unfortunately. 2 Marines across the map, and they will be able to pick away at those Zerglings. 1 goes down, and there are a few more out, though, to help defend. Looks like it is just going to be 2 Queens once again for Lucky. He's still just mining off of this gas geyser with just 1 drone at the moment.
Yep, standard play for a Zerg back in the day, or at least in the previous metagame, was to go for 3 Queens and then eventually add on a 4th once you took your 3rd base or you got a macro hatch. So right now just getting that 3rd creep queen as it were, and just kind of getting ready for the later stages of the game, droning up, waiting till he has enough gas to put down a lair, and then I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw Mutaplay on this map. It's a great map for it, but a lot of Zerg players do like going infestors as well. It's really one of those maps that works well for either style, too, which is one of the things that Zergs tend to like about it.
And Lucky challenging himself, apparently, not producing anything but a few lings, and Queens back at home to defend. Finally starting his 4th Queen, though, a little bit later than the other ones. Needs to send 1 back to inject, so no spine crawlers up at the front. Knows that there are going to be some Hellions out there. TriMaster, of course, going for a 3rd command center, like so many players are doing at this stage of the game, and nothing really out of the ordinary for him, but no starport quite yet.
Oh, Zerglings coming in and getting this around, trying to get at that Hellion. Oh, nice repair from TriMaster on that Hellion. It is not going to go down, but some SCVs will.
Yeah, he's actually lost 3, 4, 5, 6.
What?
Wow.
Man, 1 hit point Hellion there, but he lost a lot of SCVs, a total of 8 so far in this game. That definitely hurts.
Yes, it does. So he is double producing SCVs. We'll be able to triple produce pretty soon with that third command center to help him catch back up. But Lucky going over to a third base with a nice advantage in this game.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that little round of Speedlings is so good against Terran players that do get their command center, their second one rather, a little bit later, or go for any sort of reactor Hellion opening at all, really, because you're going to have less Marines. You're going to have, not that many Hellions if the Zerg decides to send in some Speedlings a little bit early on. And Lucky, just taking advantage of that. And he's sending more Lings in right now, too. I think this is, I would see this as kind of what I like to call a skill check, where the Korean kind of plays a little bit overly aggressive to just kind of test the control of their opponent. You see this all the time in Korea versus non-Korean matches. More Zerglings coming in right now.
Oh, wow. And the problem was that TriMaster had moved all of his Hellions away about 5 seconds beforehand, so he loses a mule and another SCV, and Lucky has just done some great damage. Oh, he's going to get another mule, too.
Yep, there it goes. The Zerglings will eventually go down, but he may be even... Nope, not going to get a Hellion, but he does manage to do some decent economic damage, 9 in total, and a couple mules, and the lost mining time, and Lucky's not done yet. He knows that he can just kind of mess with his opponent. He may be overextending a little bit at this point, but
yeah,
it's actually perfectly fine. I mean, with just 2 queens at home, he's going to be able to defend against this. I think he may even have a spine crawler. Is that right? No spine.
No spine at all.
Yeah, but 2 queens is usually enough. So.
Yep. And the Queens will be able to push away those Hellions, at least for the time being. It looks like Lucky can send those Zerglings back up and around the top right-hand corner once again. Marine is actually in position, though, to stop those. Yeah, and it looks like the Hellions do pick up exactly where those Zerglings are at.
Yep. So now the nice thing for Lucky right now is that he's got TriMaster a little bit scared. He's taken some damage from some Ling run-bys, so he's a little bit afraid to move out on the map. He's also got those Hellions afraid of lots of Zerglings, too. So that style of play that Lucky is doing a lot of times will give the Terran the impression that there's a lot more offensive units out on the map than there really are sometimes. So you can see Terran players where they have big windows to go in and do damage, to maybe even scout, get a little bit more map control, and they won't because they feel like there's more stuff out there. So I'd say, TriMaster a little bit scared into playing kind of defensively here at this point.
Yeah, but he does have a very nice position at the moment. As we can see, he too has invested into his infrastructure. Excuse me, he's got a starport producing multiple medevacs. His SCV count is starting to get back up there once again. He's adding on those engineering base. So obviously not as clean as his teammates Ganji and Hart were, Hart especially, but he's still getting to the same conclusion eventually.
Well, speaking of conclusions, Lucky is going towards the late game here, getting his infestation pit, getting 1-1 as well. I don't think he's put down a Baneling nest just yet. I could be wrong. I didn't catch one on the production queue, but this is a little bit more common anyway. I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the cast that a lot of Zergs are actually trying to get away with skipping the Baneling nests, and in a situation like this, I would say that's certainly an acceptable thing to do. He's been able to kind of hold his opponent back to a certain extent. Oh, he does have the Baneling nest anyway, so
okay.
Never mind. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I caught one in the production queue, but yeah. I don't have my own observing computer, so I can't see it.
I thought I had missed it as well. So, a few Banelings are trying to roll in, though. TriMaster going to go ahead and stim one more time. He picks up and gets out of there. Doesn't take too many losses and has killed a few workers of his own.
Yeah, the Hellions do a little bit of damage, but nothing that Lucky can't recover from. TriMaster dropping again. Oh, but the Banelings do connect this time.
And you know what, though? He did drop and took out quite a few Banelings for each one, though. So it's not that wasn't the worst trade in the world. He didn't really do any economic damage, though. That was kind of the negative part for him. Let's take a look at how many workers have been killed. Oh, he got close. All right, 10 workers killed overall. I take that back a little bit. So he's finding himself close in supply to his opponent. He's investing back into his upgrades. Now his infrastructure is looking better. He's got 3 more barracks even on the way.
Yep, that's right. Going into a lot of Marines, getting his infrastructure up before he really needs it that much. And so he's still doing, just fine. I mean, he obviously wants to do a little bit more damage with these drops than he's been able to do so far, but the game is relatively young yet. Oh, but those spine crawlers are going to finish at the absolute perfect time.
Yeah, so TriMaster unfortunately going to have to
he's
drop
still
down.
dropping. Whoops, auto drop.
Yep, and the Spore Crawlers clean up the medevac. He does get a read on Hive Tech, though, which is kind of nice because he knows exactly when that's going to hit. Lucky, of course, getting that Spire at the same time, so we will be able to move over into Broodlords.
Yep, that's right. So really quick Broodlord tech from our Zerg player. TriMaster, you know, just really needs to rely on getting his Marines and everything in a really good position to be able to handle that. And, you know, I mean, it may not be a bad situation to start thinking about putting down another starport, too. How many workers does he have at the moment? I'm kind of curious.
66.
66, yeah. He's got a pretty decent amount. He's got both bases nearly saturated. And with mules, it's more or less saturated anyway, so while he's on 3 bases, he's doing just fine here, but Lucky looks like he's ready to go on the offensive.
Yeah, a lot of Bailings coming up now, and he does have a fair bit of forces here up at the front, and if he can catch that army in a good position, he should be able to go through that very quickly. TriMaster, though, putting some bunkers up in the middle. Very nice, making the secondary supply depot wall through here as well. Very cool stuff, and we'll see if he's able to effectively use that. Of course, now he's producing a ton of Marines at a time.
Yep, that's right. Now Lucky continuing to add on units. I feel like he's going to wait until about 2-2 to go with this. Wouldn't make a lot of sense to attack before that. And look at that creep spread. Even
that's
without
insane.
that 4-queen opening, I mean, as long as you get 2 queens out there spreading creep, that's all it takes if you're diligent about it to really, really push that. And he's all the way across the map at the 15-minute mark. He's got that Greater Spire on the way as well. Lucky does need to be a little bit careful about a situation some Zergs fall into where if they decide to attack around 2-2 and it doesn't go well, suddenly they're having to spend a lot of money on things that are not Broodlord tech, you know, not Corruptors, not Broodlords, just to replace that army that they lost. So Lucky, you know, he may be taking a little bit of a gamble here if he decides to attack, but if it works, great. If not, may make it a little bit difficult to go into that late game, but he's got 112 Zerglings out right now. Yeah. And, oh, man, this is not when TriMaster wants to be moving out.
Oh! Bailing bombs connect pretty well, and Lucky just going to roll in as this force was a little bit unsieged. So TriMaster, forced with a ton of Zerg units just directly in front of him, will he be able to hold off for a little while? Are there any other tanks around? I don't see any.
Not really.
This tank has nabbed quite a few kills, but will eventually get cleaned up in TriMaster, down to just 9 Marines in a single tank.
Oh, that army was just destroyed. Lucky got some good fungals in there as well. He's already up to another 74 Zerglings out on the map right now, getting pretty close to putting down those Broodlords, and this is going to get cleaned up really fast.
Yeah.
TriMaster in big trouble here.
Needs to pick up. Oh, save the siege tank.
Oh, he did.
And he does. All right.
Yep.
So
Lucky
let's see
he didn't
now.
have an infestor there.
Yeah. Let's see here now, though. We have how many barracks are up? That's 7 barracks plus 8, 9 altogether, and he has a second starport as well. So he will be able to macro pretty effectively sitting on 3 bases with as many workers as he has, 74 of them. But now we see the Broodlords start to morph in for Lucky.
Yep, so what TriMaster needs to kind of think about right now is getting a lot of damage done if possible with drops. He needs to really stay defensive, create sort of this unbreakable wall if he possibly can, and start creating Vikings, which he is doing. So he's definitely behind, but he's not out of it just yet. I don't know why he dropped there, but...
Well, it's a good safe position.
He was hoping there'd be a 4th. Or not there, I was talking about the bottom
you mean down here. Gotcha.
He was hoping there would be a 4th base up here, which actually there is, so that ended up working out just fine.
All right,
wow.
There you go. That's pretty good damage, yeah.
Yeah.
So now TriMaster going to pick up and get out of there. The 4th base, though, is over at the where the gold normally is on Antiga in the latter version of the map, but he does scan and see quite a few Broodlords hanging overhead as well, making some Thors and a few Vikings. His medevac count is decently high, so he's just going to need a lot of Vikings from here on out.
It's not bad as long as he keeps his units well spread, doesn't get fungal, doesn't let his Marines get hit by siege tank fire because of the Broodlords. And he has his Vikings in good position. He should be in a good spot to take that army. He's definitely going to wait. Oh, this is, if he's moving out and getting aggressive here, this is a little bit dangerous. He doesn't quite have the Viking count yet to handle the air upgrades, or the air units rather, that Lucky has. If he waits for another round, he'd be in much better shape here.
And he is finishing up 3 Vikings, probably with a couple more to come out. No, actually, decides to start another Thor. So he's going to be on a total of 2 Thors, and when this last Viking finishes up, 8 Vikings with a huge amount of Marines as well. We're going to see, though, if he has a position. Oh, and the Vikings, a few of them actually getting torched right away. The Queen's starting to roll up at the front. I'll certainly want those at the back to begin healing up these Broodlords once again.
Yep, that's right. I love that, sending in Marauders to try to focus down Infestors. Good move by TriMaster, but the supply is just really looking good. I mean, if you look at the army, FXO.Lucky just looks so strong, but this drop could do some damage as well.
Yeah, I mean, Lucky has to pull back some forces to deal with that TriMaster in a lot of places at once, and we'll see if he's able to get any real damage done here. Looks like he's going to have to pick off that Spine Crawler and Spore Crawler. Now starting to focus down the hatchery. It's getting very low, 700 hit points and falling, 400, 300, 200. Will he get it? Oh,
he barely gets
just
it.
At the end.
Yep, Lucky having to pull back his entire army for that as well.
All right, so TriMaster dropping once again down towards the main of his opponent. We'll see if he's able to snag the Hive Tech. Both players are maxed at the moment. Of course, TriMaster does have his 4th base finished up, but he doesn't have anywhere to put it at the moment.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there with that. That's going to be interesting. TriMaster, though, maxed out where his opponent is actually not, so... Oh, wow, and he might get the Greater Spire, too.
Yeah, looks like that's exactly what he's going for, and that is going to fall.
Oh, yeah, it's dead. TriMaster, and he should pick up the units, Well, it looks like he's going to lose some of these, but the Greater Spire was nice. You know, it's like I said, though, he's doing everything he needs to do. He's created that very good defensive perimeter at his base. He's been doing damage with drops, lots of damage. That's exactly, what you need to do if you're playing this style, if you want to get back into the game against Zerg. And, I would say he's done it, except the one thing that he really needs to do at this point, too, is to take a 4th base. He needs to find some way to get a safe 4th base. He's going to try it right now, and he's got a decent army to defend with, but this map, it can be a little bit difficult in this position for Terran to take a 4th and a 5th base.
That's a fair amount of anti-air that he has out on the field as well, but there are 14 Corruptors out. Do they have any, no. Okay, no upgrades for those Corruptors. Let's actually take a look at the Vikings. No upgrades for the Vikings as well. So he's doing a nice job just kind of spinning around. Oh, but unfortunately he gets a lot of them fungled in the middle, and the Corruptors are going to be able to deal with the rest. TriMaster needs to reproduce those immediately.
Yeah, and that hurts. As soon as those Vikings go down, I guarantee you Lucky is going to start pushing. He knows he's got the air advantage. He knows he's got his bases more or less defended at this point, but he looks like he's waiting for a couple Ultras to come out too, just to kind of put the icing on the cake, so to speak, with that.
And TriMaster has another drop cleaned up, but he does force his opponent to lose a lot of his mining here and put down Spine Crawlers and Spore Crawlers. Lucky, though, just going to roll through the middle. He has got an incredibly large army. Ultralisk being added on, chitinous plating being thrown on as well. And TriMaster, will he have enough?
Well, he's got to be really careful not to get those Vikings fungled. Here we go. The Vikings clumping up a little bit, but going after the Broodlords. Here come the Corruptors, but there are Marines there as well. He needs those Infestors. Where are the Infestors?
I don't know. They're just kind of sitting behind at the moment. One of them was underneath, but no real fungals have hit.
Yeah.
But the air advantage is just so great for Lucky at the moment.
Yeah, the last of the Vikings do go down. The Broodlords are attacking unopposed, even with a few more Vikings coming in right now. It's just not going to be a lot. Thor's anti-air attacks don't do a whole lot either. And with 5 Ultras coming after this, it's going to be pretty tough for TriMaster to hold off this aggression.
Yeah, I mean, TriMaster kind of on his last legs now. He scans to see what's sitting behind this. There's just a couple of Infestors there, so it looks like he's going to try and run underneath to pick these off, but there are the Infestors locking down those Marines, and most of the anti-air has gone down once again. The Ultras now starting to run in from behind as well.
Yep, that's right. The Ultralisks, the icing on the big Zergling cake.
That's a not tasty cake, unfortunately.
That's right. That's a tough frosting to swallow. But TriMaster, a valiant effort, but it looks like he's going to be taken out here by Lucky.
Yeah, 100 supply deficit now. The Ultras continuing to run forward as well. Scan, seeing what his opponent has, what he's reinforcing with. These Corruptors absorbing quite a bit of the damages while allowing the Broodlords to just do their work.
Yep, that is about it. TriMaster not giving up until the very last second here, but it's just that air army. I mean, the Corruptors, the Broodlords, TriMaster really doesn't have an answer for it right now. Master pairing the Thor just will not work. SCV is on hold position, but the Ultralisks don't care. They're like, hey, we're going to kill you anyway. It's just what we do. We're Ultralisks.
Yeah, and there it is, GG, and FXO Korea has taken the set. They eliminate Complexity from the tournament.
Yeah, you know, it was a really good start by Hart early on in the match, but in the end,